What's good, everybody? What's up, man? This is Stephen Qualls II, aka Mr. Qualified. It's your boy. And I have my lovely co-host with me, you boom. Yes, this is what I'm
Ashley Wright the first.
Indeed. And we are back. We are back from our hiatus again. Not a hiatus, more like a sabbatical. But the point is, we're back for another episode of The Right Quality. And honestly, really all that we have to talk about today, like the main thing we're going to talk about today is just some more blasphemy from ESPN. Really, I was appalled. I was confuddled, bewildered. Yeah, confuddled, bewildered. Led astray. Because when ESPN released it was top 25, or it was a top 20.
It was top 10.
No, there was a longer list. I think the list was like 20.
It was a longer list?
Yeah.
Scared to see the rest.
No, it's bad. It's
okay, so it's a longer list, but what we saw was the first 10 names.
Yeah. We saw the first 10 names,
and these are players that are under 25. So they were under 25. And also, to be fair, it was based on future talent, so what they could amount to.
Yeah, the full list is 25. So, do you want me to start from like 25 and go down, like come to 1? You want to just do that?
Yeah, go that way. Go.
So at 25 is Colin Sexton. At 24 is Lonzo Ball. At 23 is Jared Allen. 22 is John Collins. 21 is Tyrese Halliburton. 20 is DeAndre Ayton. 19 is Anthony Edwards. 18 is Domantas Sabonis. 17 is Mikal Bridges. 16 is Trae Young. 15 is John Morant. 14 is Michael Porter Jr. 13 is Jamal Murray. 12 is Jaylen Brown. 11 is Brandon Ingram. 10 is SGA, Shai Gilgeous. 9 is Bam. 8 is Devin Booker. 7 is Ben Simmons. 6 is De'Aaron Fox. 5 is Jason Tatum. 4 is Donovan Mitchell. 3 is LaMelo Ball. 2 is Zion Williamson, and then 1 is Luka Doncic. There's a lot wrong with this list, first and foremost. Start there. There's a lot wrong with this list. But why is LaMelo 3?
It was probably just like, how can we stir the pot with this list?
Why is LaMelo 3?
Shuffle or pull names out of a hat, because yeah.
Why is LaMelo 3? That's really my main question. That's my main beef. How?
Before his injury, and I can't honestly, I don't know. I can't really make an excuse for them, but before his injury, he was performing really, really well. He was the favorite to win the Rookie of the Year award, probably still the favorite to a lot of people. So that's probably what ESPN was banking it off of. But the distance between LaMelo and the number 1 overall pick in his draft, Anthony Edwards, is weird. It's weird. Anthony was what, like 20th or something? And LaMelo
is 19th.
And honestly, Anthony has been holding his own. Like, he's also made a case to win Rookie of the Year. He's not, far behind, although LaMelo was balling. He led rookies in almost every category. Anthony Edwards was close in those categories as well. So, I don't know.
I don't think I have a problem with LaMelo being relatively high on the list. There are just certain people on this list that he should not be before. Mm-hmm. That's my thing. That's what I'm stuck at. I wouldn't really even be mad if LaMelo had cracked the top 10, to be completely honest with you. But the simple fact that he is above Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, Ben Simmons, and Devin Booker confuses me.
But we also have to keep in mind that this list is based off what these talents could be 4 or 5 years from now as well. So
I still don't see guys before Jason Tatum, if that's what we're talking about. I don't know. John Morant? 15?
Yeah, John Morant. I feel like Ja is a lot more athletic than.
like so.
Athletic, but Ja's, yeah.
So basically, what this is telling me is they feel like Luka Doncic, Zion Williamson, and LaMelo Ball are going to be the future of the league. That's what this list is. That's the assumption.
That's not a bad assumption though, because we've kind of seen that take into fruition already, especially with the hype that's surrounding these three players. It's not hard to thrust them into that spotlight.
Luka, yes, Zion has definitely stepped into that realm, but I think to go there, to immediately go there and to disregard Jason Tatum and Devin Booker, like those two, at least for being what 4 year pros, 5 year pros at this point.
Yeah, 4 or 5.
Like I feel you. Like Luka's 3. This is Zion's 2nd, and then this is Melo's 1st. So
Yeah.
I get that they've shown a lot in their short time, but also what they've shown still does not surpass what we've seen from Devin Booker or Jason Tatum. Has been to 3 conference finals.
Yes.
Luka ain't been to a conference final. Zion ain't been to the playoffs. LaMelo ain't experienced the playoffs yet. So it's like, I hear you and I feel you. I'm not saying these players should be like dropped tremendously. Like I said, I'm not really mad at 1 and 2. If we being honest, I'm not mad at Luka and Zion right there per se. I could argue maybe Tatum should be 2. But Zion should be there. Zion's top 3, top 5. I'll give you that. LaMelo is not top 5 in 25 under 25, even if you're going off of future potential. I still think Tatum's before him. I think Devin Booker's before him. You probably have a case maybe for Donovan Mitchell, even though I personally feel like Donovan Mitchell should be above him.
I do too.
I would say a player like Bam that like just kind of like slid in at 9 that nobody is talking about. Bam should probably be a little bit higher if we're talking about potential as well, because Bam ain't even peaked yet. So that's my main beef with the list, is that even if you're going off of future, you kind of went with what we've immediately seen in like the last 2 years.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. No, not even thinking about what have we seen in the last 4 or 5 from some of these players that are in their 4th year and 5th year. Like Jamal Murray fell into the teens and he had one of the craziest runs in the playoffs last year.
Yep.
So it's like ESPN, what we watching.
I'm telling you, they picked the names out of a hat.
Yeah, they might have. If you were gonna make your top 10, what would your order be?
Yeah, Tatum is definitely top 2 just based off what we've been able to see. And it's not just him making the playoff appearances, it's him showing up in the playoffs as well. We talk about his rookie season a lot. He was balling in the playoffs. I'm talking like no fear, and has only taken that momentum with him.
Yeah.
Luka should definitely be up there. I think also he's proven himself like individually as far as like the Mavericks team goes. You know, they gave the Clippers a run, but it didn't go too far. You know what I mean? So, but Luka individually, he's definitely proven himself. And I think that this list is based off individuality. I know we just made the case for Jason Tatum, but again, he showed up in the playoffs even as an individual. I don't know. It gets harder from there for me because it's like, I love Donovan Mitchell's game. You know, but he's playing in a tough Western Conference. You still need to give credit where credit's due. And he has been in the playoffs. He has shown up in the playoffs. He was 1 shot away from beating Denver last season. So I honestly think that, you know, Donovan Mitchell deserves his flowers. And if we're going based off potential, you have to throw Zion in the top 10. After that, that's where I think 4 or 5 players I just named, I think those are locks. But everyone else, you could just you can make that. You could make it.
You're trying to skate around actually putting them in their place. It's okay.
It's so hard. I can't put them in their place.
I don't think you can really argue Luka at 1, given what he's already shown and given what we think he will be. Luka has the potential to literally be a superstar.
Yes.
Like I feel like a superstar with longevity at that. I don't feel like Luka's gonna have a short career. I feel like Luka will always be able to adjust his game and will always have an impact, similar to a Dirk in terms of longevity. He didn't have the early struggles that Dirk had, but the way Dirk was always able to adjust his game and play almost 20 years, if not 20 to be exact, then I see that for Luka. So I think Luka's one. I personally think Tatum is two. I personally think Tatum is two. I also personally think Devin Booker is three, but then Zion is four. I'll put Booker over Zion only because I feel like the jury's still out on whether Zion will have a lengthy career. And I'm not wishing a short career on him.
Yeah.
But I feel like Zion will have this stretch where he's dominant, but then I don't know if it will sustain over time. Whereas I would put Devin Booker in the same class as Tatum. Devin Booker is just now getting to a point where he can show it past the regular season. So that's why I'm really interested to see the playoffs this year, because if Booker performs the way he's been performing in the regular season, in the playoffs when those games are meaningful, you have to put him up there because the skill and the talent is already there. So
honestly, even though technically it wasn't the playoffs last season in the bubble, they still went undefeated. Still went undefeated. I think honestly that was the glimpse that we needed from him as far as what can he do outside of, regular season play per se, because they were still trying to, get into that play-in spot.
yeah,
I think that's where we got that glimpse from him.
yeah. So that's four. So I put Zion at four. Now five, I'd probably say Bam. For me personally, I'd say Bam. Six, would you put Ben Simmons before Donovan Mitchell?
No.
I'm on the fence.
My thought is we're talking about potential.
Yeah.
So potential, honestly, in my mind, amounts to winning.
Okay.
And I'm trusting Donovan Mitchell more with the last shot than I'm trusting Ben Simmons
Well,
more.
we're trusting almost anybody with the last shot more.
Right.
If it's
And I feel like even throughout the game, I know Ben Simmons is an excellent facilitator, but I think Donovan Mitchell just demands more attention, especially because he can shoot. So if I'm defending Ben Simmons and he's out on the perimeter, I'm not running out there. Whereas you have to watch out for Donovan Mitchell driving, you have to watch out for him shooting. It's just a lot more you have to worry about when Donovan Mitchell is on the floor than when Ben Simmons is on the floor.
Agreed. And I think that I would give this edge to Donovan as well, because Donovan is the undisputed leader and first option.
Yes.
Whereas, as great as Ben can be, that's Embiid's team. Embiid is your number one option. Embiid is your go-to guy. That's who carries the weight of the majority of the responsibility. Like if Ben didn't have an Embiid there, like Ben would probably be one of the most criticized players in the league outside of the jump shot, just because he would have more responsibility to, one, really need to be able to score at all three levels, and then two, even be more of a facilitator with more than likely less resources. So there's that.
And I would like to argue that the 76ers would not be in the position that they're in without Embiid at all.
Not without Embiid. Not without Embiid.
I don't even know if I see them being, one of the bottom teams as far as seeding goes in the playoffs. If they,
yeah, okay. Well, you said bottom in the playoffs, so you said like in the bottom four of the eight.
Yeah, bottom. Yeah.
Yeah.
We talking like 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah. They probably a 6, 7. They probably 6, 7. Yeah. But Ben is after him though, so Ben is 7. Honestly, I'd move Ja up to the top 10.
Yeah.
I don't know why Ja's not in the top 10, honestly, truly. Also, I don't know if it's because he's been injured, but Jaren Jackson Jr. is not on this list. And I don't know if it's because he's injured or not. And that may be it, because we haven't seen a lot from him. But
he can ball.
He can ball. I'm going Ja at 8. Uh, does Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or De'Aaron Fox stay in the top 10 for you?
Shai is out of the top 10 for me.
Shai's out. Is De'Aaron Fox staying?
De'Aaron stays, yes. He easily stays.
So he's at 9.
Yes.
I'm not mad at that. He's definitely. I feel like he's an underrated young guard in the league. I think people know of him. I think people know he can ball. But I still feel like his name gets, lost when you're talking about young guards, just because of you got Trae Young, you got Luka, you got Ja. So I feel like De'Aaron kind of usually is a afterthought, but you still know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
So 10, who we got left to go with? We got Ingram, Jaylen Brown, Jamal Murray, Trae Young. Are we putting LaMelo at 10?
I want to put Ingram there so bad. I want to put BI there so bad. I
feel like I'm torn between Ingram and Trae, honestly.
Yeah, that's
like a deep part of me kind of wants to throw Jaylen Brown in there too. But in all honesty, he's probably like 11, 12. Like he's right there. He's not top 10. But I think it's between BI. I think it's between BI and Trae. And it's hard because I don't really know if there's an indicator you can use to separate them.
Honestly, though, I think the indicator that we use isn't even based off play. I think it's based off leadership ability and vocalism, in which you've given it to Trae.
Right.
Yeah, is a quiet guy. He's not super rowdy. I don't think he's the one that'll get that team up. I think obviously Trae is the one to do that for the Hawks. So if we're talking about in that sense, then I'm going with Trae.
I can give you that, and I think you have to do that because with play, I think you can always have a counter for one of them, or each of them have a counter for each other. We're going to go what they do well, this, that, and the third. So I wouldn't be mad at Trae being 10. Obviously, that would make Ingram 11, and then Jaylen Brown would be like 12, and then you can go from there. But I'm not mad at Trae being 10, and I think that's a way more accurate top 10 list than what ESPN did. Which I guess you also have to realize that ESPN uses certain metrics and different things. Who knows what they went off of, whether it's like points per game being factored into it, or maybe they factored in wins and losses. I don't know what all they factored in, but I think it's just, I guess I feel like if you watch basketball, which we're going to assume everybody at ESPN does that's making this list, it's just really hard for me to believe that you ignored the fact that your top 3 players are respectively in their third year, second year, and first year. And you have players who have been in the league for 4 or 5 years, still under 25, are more established. And the only person in that top 3 you can't really argue being more established is Luka. But when you talk about Tatum, Mitchell, even Simmons, Booker, all of them are more established than Zion, and all of them are more established than LaMelo. And all of them have not, I would argue, all of them really haven't hit their peak yet either. So it just doesn't make sense to me. It seems like they jumped the gun putting Melo up there. And we all know Melo is open and that he could ball, but jump the gun, in my opinion, jump the gun. But we'll definitely release that. I think the people will respect our list much more, or at least being a little bit more agreeant with that. But yeah, I hope everybody got drug tested there, like Stephen A. said. They have to stay off the weed.
Oh man.
No, but you know who might have been on some weed when they gave this man this large extension contract was my Milwaukee Bucks. Now,
whoever that is.
Now let me preface. I don't necessarily think it was a bad move to start there. It's not a bad move. It's a move that I was hoping happened, 1. And then it's a move that, 2, I feel like is best for the Bucks. It's in the Bucks' best interest. If you're gonna tie your money up in a point guard, this probably the one. In my personal opinion, seeing options. Like you more than likely not gonna trade, for another point guard or some premier point guard. I don't necessarily think you need a premier scoring point guard on this team as it's currently constructed. So there. Now, the amount, when I saw it was I kind of like, sheesh, yeah, but I also really wouldn't go as far as saying Jrue's not worth that. I get this early. I get we haven't seen anything yet, but I also think they took the lesser risk out of two risk. Because you either gonna have to pay him early or wait it out and he potentially walk. Because he got more options on the table. Why not lock him in? I mean, I think from what we've seen, at least in the regular season, he fits clearly. He makes a huge difference, and he's a huge upgrade from your last point guard, who you also gave an extension to that everybody loved that extension. Granted, that extension was also under $100 million, but still, I think the only thing that might be a fear is that if this doesn't work, if this isn't the recipe, then you are stuck at the Bucks. You are stuck. But what team is it? Like, I guess at some point you have to go all in on something at some point. And I would rather the Bucks go in on something and it doesn't work, but they took a chance on a team that they trusted. Because I trust this team more than any other team. Not saying anything's a guarantee, but I trust them to perform the best out of the teams from the past seasons. Because if you don't take that chance and then you lose Jrue after a season or whatever the case may be, it still don't guarantee that you will have room to try to bring somebody else in. And now all of Giannis's contract is you trying to find players to bring in, and ain't no chemistry, there's no consistency there. So I get both sides, but also for people who were overreacting or people who felt like it was a bad move or too early, I guess it's like, what do you expect a team to do in that position? But what are your thoughts?
No, I agree with everything you just said. Honestly, locking him in, if the Bucks truly felt like Jrue was the point guard for him, then that's the smartest thing that they could do, because Jrue is always going to be a sought after point guard just based off his style of play alone. And so if you're Milwaukee, then obviously you want to make sure that he doesn't get a chance to taste that free agency market. Because if he does, then people are going to start throwing money his way and bidding for him, because again, like, his style of play is so universal. He almost fits with any team in the league. So for the Bucks, it's definitely smart that they decided to make that decision.
Yeah, I mean, I remember my homies, they text me when the news broke, and they was like, man, because it happened like right after he dropped like 33 or 34. Like, it literally happened the next day. And so they was like, man, dude dropped 34. They just started throwing money at him. I didn't even know that happened yet. So I'm like, what are y'all talking about? I go look it up, and I'm kind of like, what's the problem? I'm like, what's the issue here? I was like, this is what we would want. I'm thinking, we've already got Giannis. We know he getting paid the world. We already got Middleton getting paid way more than he supposed to be getting paid, but that's a whole other story. But if you gonna pay them two, you might as well pay Jrue. Like,
and also, like, those are the type of point guards that y'all go for anyway, because if you think about it, George Hill has a similar play style. It's like, that's it. And it also fits with the Bucks. Like, Giannis needs a point guard that plays like Jrue Holiday, because if he plays like Jrue Holiday, I don't necessarily need the ball, but I can still put the ball in the hoop. Drew's averaging 17 points per game, so he's not a bum by any means. He's definitely contributing. And then we're not even getting into his assist and what he can do as a facilitator to get the ball to Giannis. So it does make a lot of sense for Milwaukee.
Jrue is widely regarded as one of the best defenders. I mean, at the guard position, one of the best defenders in the league by everybody. Like, that is documented. And the Bucks need that. I mean, I think in comparison to Bledsoe is obviously known more for his defense than his offense, but I still, take Jrue over him, and Jrue also gives you more offensively. So I think the extension is worth it, and I think for Bucks fans and for Milwaukee fans, it's tough. It's hard on us because we just hope this money means something. Just hope y'all able to perform in the playoffs and win some games and maybe make it to the conference finals. Make it interesting this time, But No, but yeah, no, but I'm happy. I mean, just not even as just a sports fan, but as a Bucks fan, I think it was the right move. I think it makes the most sense, honestly. So I'm glad they did that, like you said, as opposed to letting it get closer. Because then if the playoffs, for whatever reason, didn't go well, then he has no reason or no incentive to stay. At least if something happens, there's a little bit more incentive to be like, okay, I'm here. Giannis still here. The team pretty much still going to be here from what it looks like. Let's really figure this out. And that just all depends on really how the playoffs go. But I think they have a chance to make it to the conference finals. It'll be tough either way. I think they have a chance, though. I just really hope. Last thing on the Bucks. The only thing I don't like about them being stuck at 3 is that Miami and Atlanta are teetering between 5 and 6. And I do not want Miami in the first round. I'm sick of this.
Yeah. Man.
Ooh, win some games. Hey,
Man.
got time.
Miami, and they're a little bit scarier. I just feel like Victor adds a lot more than what people believe he adds to that team.
I'm not trying to see Miami.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Not trying to see.
Yeah.
It's too scary for me. Give me Atlanta. Who else did? Give me Charlotte. Somebody. Not Miami. Win some games. Like move up.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. But but yeah. Well, last topic for today is the inevitable MVP race as the season is coming to a close. MVP race is, as the kids would say, heating up. But interestingly enough, the 4 players considered to be in the race are Jokic, Dame, Embiid, and Giannis, surprisingly. But since LeBron's injury, LeBron has kind of been removed from your general MVP conversations. I mean, that's a whole nother thing because Bron don't got no timetable. We have no idea when AD is coming back. We season by 2 weeks from
Kind
now.
of lost. No one.
Nobody knows what's going on.
Yeah. And then Kuzma's out too. And then the Lakers are 5th in the West. That's not an easy spot to be in because right now 4th is Denver, who has another MVP candidate in Nikola Jokic.
I don't know, man. Man, teams are starting to look good, man.
Yeah.
Clippers starting to look good. Suns been looking good all season. Utah's going to be formidable regardless.
Yep.
Portland seems like they're getting in shape. It's just getting real tricky for them. But one, I don't think Giannis should be in the MVP conversation this year. Not because his numbers are probably there, but I think he's averaging like almost 30, like 11 rebounds and like 5 or 6 assists, something like that. So the numbers are there, but I just also don't feel like he's had the same impact on the team necessarily this year because of the arrival of Jrue. But that's another thing. I still think Jokic is the clear favorite. Just his numbers have been ridiculous. And Denver has the better record. Dame's close. It's hard because I think it really comes down. And no disrespect to Dame, obviously, but I think it comes down to Jokic and Embiid. Really. I don't really know if I have a horse in that fight or a dog in that fight, but it kind of seems like it's Jokic because Jokic just been consistent all year with it all. And Denver's been relatively consistent. They've been in that 4 or 5 spot all season. So, granted, Philly's essentially been 1 all season as well. But I don't know. I think I'm just feeling Jokic. I just think the numbers are a little bit more impressive from Jokic for me. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I think honestly too, if we're taking into account injuries, like almost everybody else who's in the MVP race has missed some type of time this season due to injury. I think honestly, Jokic has virtually played every game thus far, if I'm not mistaken. And so he honestly deserves his flowers as well because he's had, the past 3-4 seasons as a top producer for his team. And not only that, but throughout the league, his name is holding weight now. And for him to be able to be the leader on a team that has Jamal Murray, and he's still obviously the go-to option. He's dropping this and that triple double as a big. I don't think it's honestly difficult, I feel like, for guards to drop these types of triple doubles. He is a big. This man is what, 6'10, 6'11, and still being able to handle the ball the way that he does, passing the way that he's able to pass, shooting. And he's doing this at a high level in the Western Conference. His team is always in a top position, definitely always in the playoffs, especially, like I said, in the last 3 or 4 years. And they're giving people a run for sure. They're not just showing up and getting swept. They're, like I said, holding their own weight. So Jokic is for sure, I think he's right now the number one option for that award. Right. There's still a lot of time left for somebody else to hop in there, but
yeah, I mean, if we're talking,
it's just kind of hard to take it from him.
Yeah, if we're talking regular season MVP, we're talking numbers. We're talking your team's record. I think he inches out Embiid in the record regard with his numbers, because Embiid isn't posting triple doubles, and that's just not a. While Embiid can obviously pass, it's just not as much of a facet as his game, and he's just not as effective at passing as Jokic. Like Jokic is that much of a threat as a passer, almost as equally, to him being a scorer, which is not the same for Embiid. So I kind of give that edge, especially if we're talking about regular season MVP. It'll be interesting. There's only a couple weeks left in the season, I think. I'm pretty sure the season ends.
It's like May 5th, May something. It's the middle of May.
That deep into May?
Right? Or is that when the playoffs begin?
I think it's when the playoffs. I'm pretty sure the regular season ends like, I want to say the end of April.
Yeah.
I mean, I can verify that real quick. When does NBA season? Oh no, I'm a dumbass. No, it does end May 16th.
16th.
Yes. And I'm assuming that's the end of the. Yeah, I'm assuming that's the end of the season, regular season, obviously. And then the playoffs will be from May 22nd to July 22nd.
2 weeks worth of playoffs?
2 months worth of playoffs. I'm assuming that might be extra days for travel, extra days for like COVID precautions, potentially. However that may work, but I guess it kind of. I mean, I guess if you think about it, the playoffs are always 2 months anyway, because they usually start in April and go to.
Oh yeah.
And go usually to early June, so it's usually about 2.
That's true.
And like that July 22nd is probably the latest.
Yeah, 7-game series.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, it's wrapped. So about a month left. It's gonna be interesting to see what this next month looks like for the league as they shape up for the playoffs. Like especially with players being out, players having to come back, et cetera, et cetera. Will teams have its chemistry? I'm really excited for this playoffs though. I mean, we've been saying it all season, but I think if the majority of teams going into this playoffs are healthy, it's going to be a lot of dogfights, and I cannot wait to see. So yeah. But no, anything else for the fans this week?
Nope. You got a moment of clarity?
Oh, yes, I do. Okay. Wow. So Roy Williams retired. And so UNC hired the first black man to be the head coach. And so he gave a press conference, because that's what you do when you get hired as a head coach. And he proceeded for 45 seconds to talk about how important and how monumental it was to be the first black head coach at this institution. Then he swiftly, in 7 to 9 seconds, said that had nothing to do with the love for his white wife and his mixed children. Now, ain't nothing wrong with that, but why? Why? Why did that need to be mentioned? Why did you spend 45 seconds talking about Black history, essentially, just to turn around and be like, yeah, but my white wife and my mixed kids, I love them all the same. Nobody said you didn't. Nobody asked you about that. This ain't a press conference about you being a dad. It's about you being a coach. I'm confused. I'm
Very true. That is very true. And like you said, nobody questioned the love for your wife. I mean, I assume that's why you made her your wife, because of the love you have for her. And I assume that since you all procreated, you have love for the people that you procreated. So it goes without saying.
It was so unprovoked. I'm watching the clip. I'm like, where did this come from? Like, was there a question beforehand that like we didn't know? Like, did somebody ask you specifically about that? I don't know. Like,
yeah,
it was a lot. Like, I'm watching.
My thing is, what reporter is going to say, "Do you love your wife?"
Like, do you love your white wife? I don't think it matters. I think we're in a little bit of a better time, in journalism. Like, I don't think that's going to be a question that they ask you.
Right.
But why? Like, I'm watching this clip and I'm like, yeah, you are. Yeah, that is monumental. First Black, woo, woo, woo. Then he get to the end and I'm just like, the rush. What? I'm like, what are you talking about? Who asked you that? But yeah, I don't know why he did that, but that's my moment of clarity. That had me dying laughing earlier in the week. My God. Ooh, Lord. Yeah. Do you have one?
No, I just want to reiterate the fact that, I mean, I kind of do, kind of don't. I'm not over this whole Twitter debate between Prime PG and Prime Mellow. I talked about it in What's Right. If you haven't seen What's Right for this week, go look at it. It's on our page. But why is this even an argument, dude? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I will never understand why people think or want to even try to, I don't know. It's just hard for me to fathom that people think Prime PG, which I guess is the PG from Indie, because there is no other PG that can amount to Prime Mellow. Like, and it's like, choose your era for Prime Mellow. Do you think Prime Mellow is Denver? Do you think Prime Mellow is New York?
Well, also, I saw Prime and then I also saw Peak. So here's what I'll say. If you're talking Prime, it's still not a conversation, but you have more of an argument. If we're talking Peak, this is not a discussion. Like, if we're just talking Peak Mellow and Peak PG, it's not a debate at all. We're not talking about it. If we're talking Prime, though, one can make the argument that in PG's prime, which to me is most certainly Indy, in that stretch where he's playing Bron in them, I would say PG was definitely a force to be reckoned with. He was a problem for sure.
A force, yes. A problem, yeah. I think in terms of athleticism, it's the only category that he has Carmelo in.
I mean, he was also a better defender, but that's the nuances of it all.
Yeah.
The point is, he ain't no Melo. He ain't headband Melo. He ain't braid Melo. Braid Melo. Stop it.
Leading scorer Melo.
Stop it. Melo that went against Kobe Melo. I don't want to hear it.
And that's the Melo that just got rid of the braids. So
I don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it at all. But yeah, I feel your frustration because I don't. People need to be drug tested. That's about that comes down to. But yeah, man, I'm sorry. We gonna stop just talking stuff about PG. We really got to give him some grace. Hopefully he does better. But you really didn't get that man a clip. That took me out. Anyway, I at least gave him a blooper reel or something.
You know what would suffice? Like
he got a dunk. Yeah, he had a dunk on Miami. I mean, you could have showed the shot. You could have showed Dame shot off the ball. I can at this point. Just give him a clip. Just give him a clip. Yo, you can't.
Dame shot on him. I could have showed Devin Booker shot on him. All right, let me shut up.
Anyway, sorry, PG. We don't really mean this. We're just. Anyway, man, that's it for this week of The Right Quality, man. Definitely follow us on all the socials. We're going to have it spelled out. We're not going to have Ashley try to say it because she may get it wrong. But we're going to have it written on the screen for for y'all to go follow. But yeah, stay tuned. Ask us questions. Let us know if y'all want us to talk about any specific topics and things like that. And yeah, actually, if you have nothing else, man, until next week, we'll catch y'all next time. Peace.